Hello guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel. So today we are looking at specimen paper 4 calculator version for examinations from 2025, and the paper is 2 hours long. Without further ado, let us look at question number 1. Write down the integer values of x that satisfies the inequality -2 is less than or equal to x, which is less than 2. So the keyword there is integers. So integers are positive and negative, or numbers including 0. So if they say -2 is less than or equal to x, it means that -2 is also included. The next number, obviously, -2 is less than or equal to, simply means there's no other value which is less than -2. We start off with -2, then we also consider -1, we also consider 0, we also consider 1, but x is less than 2, which means that 2 is not included. So these are all the integer values which satisfy the given inequality. In question 2, in a triangle PQR, QR is equal to 10 centimeters and PR is equal to 11 centimeters. Using a ruler and compass only, construct the triangle PQR. So vertices P and Q has already been given. We don't have the vertex Q, vertex R, which is going to be the intersection of the two informations that we have been given here. So far, we know that QR is equal to 10 centimeters. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my ruler, then I measure 10 centimeters. So that means that from Q to R, there's 10 centimeters, but I don't know where R is. So R may be somewhere there. Then I'm also told that PR is equal to 11 centimeters. So from P to R, that's 11 centimeters. So I'm also going to draw an arc which has a radius of 11 centimeters, and where the two arcs meet, that's where R is. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to join these two to form my triangle. Question number 3. Simplify x to the power 8, y to the power 7 divided by x to the power -1, y to the power 3. So in this case, we're going to group. We're going to say x to the power 8 is going to be divided by x to the power -1. Then on the other bracket, y to the power 7 is going to be divided by y to the power 3. So if we are dividing numbers of the same base, simply means that we're going to be subtracting. So the first bracket, we're going to have x to the power 8, subtract because we are dividing, but we are also subtracting a negative number. In the next bracket, this is y to the power 7, subtract 3. So what we get there is x to the power 9, because 8 minus -1, that's 8 plus 1. Then y to the power 4. So that's our final answer, x to the power 9, y to the power 4. Question number 4. If f of x is equal to 3x minus 5, the domain of f of x is -3, 0, 2. Find the range of f of x. So domain is a set of input values, of this function, which we are given that the only input values we have is -3, 0, and 2. Range is the set of output values. Set of output values. So, for us to understand the domain and the range, we need to consider maybe sketching our graph on the XY plane to understand what is really happening, or on the Cartesian plane. So the x-axis becomes the input axis, or the set of the input values, while the y is equal to f of x becomes the range axis. So 3x minus 5, the highest power of x there is raised to the power 1. So this is a linear function. So minus 5 there signify that the graph kind of cuts the y-axis at minus 5. So 3 there is a positive gradient. It simply means that the graph kind of goes from the bottom left to the top right. So at this stage, I am considering it as a disjointed function, because this graph consider other values, set of values which are not input values. So the first input value of x there has to be minus 3. So what to see that if x is minus 3, what is the respective output value of y? So we have to substitute into the function. So that we have f of negative 3 is now equal to 3 of negative 3 minus 5, which is minus 9 minus 5, which is equal to minus 14. So minus 14 is part of the graph. Then let's also see that when x is 0, what's going to be the function? What's going to be the value of y? So it's just going to be minus 5 there without substituting. Then let's see what f of 2 would be. So f of 2 would be 3 times 2 minus 5, which is 6 minus 5, which is 1. So it turns out that y is 1. So this is the graph, how it should be drawn for the given domain, or for the given set of values. So it means this part here is excluded, and the bottom part is also excluded. So when you're looking at the range, we're considering the y-axis. So we're seeing that the y-axis goes as low as minus 14, it goes as high as 1. So our range is starting with the smallest, that's minus 14. We also have, when x is 0, we say we are going to have minus 5. And when x is equal to 2, we have seen that y is equal to 1. So this is the set of input values, the set of output values rather, for the given set of input values we had. In question 5, we are told that two towns A, B are shown in the map. The scale is 1 centimeter to represent 3 kilometers. Find the actual distance between A and B. So to find the actual distance between A and B, I'm going to first of all measure the distance between A and B. So we can see that the distance between A and B is actually 10 centimeters. So 10 centimeters is the distance, but I'm told that each single centimeter represents 3 kilometers. So I'm just going to multiply 10 centimeters by 3 to get the actual distance, because the actual distance will have to be in kilometers. So 3 times 10, that's 30 kilometers. Then measure the bearing of B from A. Measure the bearing of B from A. So if you are measuring the distance, the bearing between the two towns, we go where they last said it. Like this last said, we need to find the bearing of B from A. So we go at point A, then bearing measures in the clockwise direction till we touch the line AB. So that's the angle that we need to measure. So I'm going to use my protractor. Make sure that I'm going to use the degrees that goes in the clockwise direction, because my north line is on the left side, so I need to measure the angle going in the clockwise direction. So it's slightly behind 120, so that way have to be 119 degrees. So the bearing of B from A is 119 degrees. Then they say calculate the bearing of A from B. You must show all your working. So the bearing of A from B, we have to go at point B. Then bearing always measures in the clockwise direction till we touch the line AB. So I know that at this point, if I am to continue with this north line, I know that this angle here will have to be 180 degrees. And the remaining angle, if I also continue this north line, I know that my two north lines are parallel to each other, so I can make use of the alternate angles. So I found out that this angle here is 119 degrees, so this angle here also have to be 119 degrees. So the bearing of A from B is a 180 degrees plus 119 degrees. So if I say 180 degrees plus 119, I should get 299 degrees. In question number 6, we are given a solid metal cuboid that has got a volume of 600 cubic centimeters. The base of the cuboid is 10 centimeters by 12 centimeters, and we are required to find its height. So if we are to start with a rough sketch of what a cuboid might look like, so that we can get a picture of what we're dealing with, you can actually see that the base has got the dimensions 10 and 12 and the height. So volume is equal to length times width times the height. So 600, which is our volume, is equal to 12 by 10 multiplied by the height. So 600 is equal to 120h. Divide both sides by 120. We should be able to get h as 5. So that's the height of the cuboid. On part B, the solid metal cuboid is melted and made into 1120 spheres, each with a radius of 0.5 centimeters. So we are to find the volume of the metal that is not used in making these spheres. So first we need to find the volume that was used to make the spheres. So we know that the total volume of the cuboid is equal to 600. So we need to find the volume of each sphere. So the volume of each sphere will be equal to 4 over 3 pi r cubed. If you're not sure about the volume of the sphere, you can visit the second page, which has got the list of formulae which you can use. So this is 4/3 times pi times the radius of 0.45, then cubed. With the help of the calculator, we will have 4 over 3 multiplied by pi, then multiplied by our radius cubed, which is 0.45 cubed. So the volume of each sphere is going to be 0.38170. We may leave it to at least 5 decimal places to avoid premature rounding off. So volume, which is the volume of all the spheres. So volume of all the spheres that we have made so far is equal to 0.381704, then multiply by the total number of the spheres made, which is 1120. And the answer we're getting there, we can just multiply this by 1120 spheres. And we can change this to 427.507928 dot dot dot. So this is the volume that we have used to make 1120 spheres. So to get the volume that has not been used, we're going to say total volume, subtract the volume of the spheres. So the total volume is 600 minus 427.507928. So we're going to say 600, subtract our answer. We get a volume of 172.492 something. Then we will try to round this off to 3 significant figures. We're going to say 1, 2, 3. Then we check the next one. Does it have an effect? So 4 cannot change the 2. So we are still going to have 172 cubic centimeters to 3 significant figures. Question number 7. On any day, the probability that it rains is a third. When it rains, the probability that Amira goes fishing is 3 over 5. When it does not rain, the probability that Amira goes fishing is 3/4. In a period of 60 days, on how many days is it expected to rain? So expectation is equal to number multiplied by probability. So the number of days we have is 60. We multiply it by the probability of raining because we are dealing with the expectation that it will rain. So the probability that it rains is third. So we expect 20 days or a total of 20 days to rain. Complete the tree diagram. So if the probability that it will rain is a third, that of not raining is 2/3, because remember, this probability and the other one gives me a 1. Now, the next part that I need to finish is when it rains, the probability that Amira goes for fishing is 3 over 5. So 1 minus 3 over 5 gives me 2 over 5. I also need to find out what the probability is that when it does not rain, Amira still go fishing. So we are told that when it does not rain, the probability that Amira goes fishing is 3/4. So she will go fishing at a probability of 3/4 if it does not rain, which means if it does not rain, the probability that she doesn't go for fishing is 1/4. Now, find the probability that on any day, the part here when they say on any day, Amira goes fishing, they are simply saying even if it rains or even if it doesn't, what is the probability that Amira will still go fishing? So she may go fishing on a rainy day, or she may go fishing on a on a day that doesn't rain. So when we are following the probability tree, we multiply the probabilities. So that's a third multiplied by 3 over 5. Then or in probability means add. Or it's not raining with a probability of 3/4 and she can 2/3 and she can still go for fishing at a probability of 3/4. So in the first one, the 3 and the 3 cancels out. We get a 1 over 5 plus 3 and the 3 cancels the 2 here, 1 into 4, that's 2 and half, which is 0.2 plus 0.5, which is 0.7 or 7 over 10. Question number 8. On the grid, draw the lines y is equal to x and the line and x plus y is equal to 7. So I might as well draw a small table of value for each line. For instance, the line y is equal to x. Then I just need 2 points, but I'm just going to make them 3 so that the other one actually helps me to see if I've done the correct thing. So the first assumption is if x is 0, what is the value of y? What if x becomes 1? And what if x becomes 2? So when x is 0, y is 0. And when x is 1, when I put 1 for x, y is also 1. When I put x2, y is also 2. So the first point happens when x is 0 and y is 0. The second point, 1, 1, 1 for x and 1 for y, x2 and y2. So I will have to draw a line that joins those points. So this is my line. Then I also need to draw the line x plus y is equal to 7. For easier reference, I can make it y is equal to 7 minus x. When I just make x the subject of the formula, y the subject of the formula rather, then once again, I just come up with 3 imaginary points for x, that when x is 0, what is y? And if x becomes 2, what is y? Maybe x becomes 4, what is the value of y? So when x is 0, y is 7. When x is 2, 7 minus 2 gives me 5. When x is 4, 7 minus 4, y is 3. So the first point when x is 0, y is 7. Then I put my point there. When x is 2, y is 5. When x is 4, y is 3. Then I'm going to try to join those two points there with a different color. So when I join these 3 points, then make sure also that my line is as large as possible. This is what I get. So the first line is y is equal to x, and the second one is x plus y is equal to 7. The second question is now saying the region R satisfies the inequality y is greater than or equal to 0, y is less than or equal to 7, and x plus y is greater than or equal to 7. On the grid, label the region R. So on this one, I only have one line which is missing, which I'm also going to include here, and that is the line y is equal to 0. So the line y is equal to 0 is a horizontal line which passes through the point where where y is equal to 0. So to shade, I want values of y which are greater than or equal to 0. So obviously these values are obtained on the upper part than the lower part. So I'm going to shade the region below, which is the region which I do not want. So this one is y is equal to 0. Then the second one, I also want to find the region which I'm going to shade where y is less than or equal to 7x. So my blue line is actually divided in two regions, the region below it and the region above it. So I'm going to see the region below it. For instance, if I take the point 3, 2, if I take the point 3, 2, it simply means that x is bigger than y. But if I take the region above the blue line and take the coordinate, for instance, 2, 3, it simply means that y is greater than x. But it is such that the inequality requires me to have the region where all the coordinates of y or all the values of y are always less than x. So any region that is below the blue line, if, for instance, if you take this point where x is 6, you're going to see that y is 5. Y is smaller than x. So it means that the region that I do not want is a region which gives me values of y which are greater than x. Then let's look at the red line. The red line is such that the combination of x and y should always give me values which are greater than or equal to 7. So the red line has got a region below it and a region above it. So I'm going to take a region below it and see what is going to happen. For instance, this is the coordinate which is below the red line. So for instance, the coordinate is 3, 2. So the combination of x and y is such that I have x is 3 and y is 2. So when I add 3 plus 2, let's say 3 plus 2, 3 plus 2 gives me 5, and 5 is not greater than 7. I look at another point, for instance, this point where x is 4 and y is 1. So if I say 4 plus 1 for x and y, I just get 5. Still, the combination of x and y is giving me a value which is less than 7. What if I take a point which is above? For instance, when x is 6, y is 3. So 6 plus 3 gives me 9. So I'm getting a value which is above 7. So the region above the red line gives me values which are greater than 7, or at least the region below the red line is proving otherwise. So the region which is not satisfying the inequality will end up being shaded. So I only have, when I drew these lines, they created 4 regions altogether. This is region 1, which I was suspecting, region 2, which I would also suspect that it might be the wanted region, region 3, and region 4. So you'd find out that region 1 is part of it shaded, which means it's no longer valid. Region 2 has got 2 parts of it being shaded, or at least region 3 is part of it shaded, which means it's no longer invalid. So the region 4 is the wanted region, which I'm going to label as region R. Question number 9. The diagram shows a speed time graph of part of the journey of the car. Find the deceleration of the car between 10 and 13 seconds. So, when I'm interpreting this speed time graph, I'll say when we first observed the car, it was moving at a speed of 8 seconds for 8 meters per second for 10 seconds, after which it decelerates uniformly to rest in a further 3 seconds. So find the deceleration of the car between the between 10 and 13 seconds. So what we are just doing here is we try to find acceleration first. So acceleration, which is the gradient, is change in y over change in x. So between 10 and 13, the line is kind of sloping, but y is actually going from 8 to 0. So that change there is a negative 8. If y changed going up, then it would be positive. But x changed from 10 to 13 in that whole process. So x changed with approximately 3 units. So change in y over change in x there would be minus 8 over 3. So minus 8 divided by 3, minus 8 divided by 3, that's minus 2.67, minus 2.6 recurring, or minus 2.67 meters per square second. Now, that's the acceleration, but they ask it, the question is deceleration. If it was acceleration and the answer is negative, put it as negative. But if it's deceleration, the negative aspect of the answer is included in the name. So we'll just put 2.67 meters per square second, or we'll just put 8 over 3 meters per square second. Part B requires me to find the total distance traveled in the 13 seconds. So distance is actually area under the graph. So the graph that we have here is in the shape of a trapezium. So area of a trapezium, the area of a trapezium is equal to half sum of the parallel sides times the perpendicular height, which is half sum of the parallel sides. The first parallel side is running from this point to this point, which is approximately from 0 to 10. So that's 10. Then the other side runs from 0 to 13, which is 13. Then the perpendicular height is 8. So this is equal to a half times, when we add the brackets, what is in the brackets first, we get half times 23 times 8. So if we say half times 23 times 8 gives me 92 meters. So the answer there is 92 meters. Question number 10 is asking us to factorize completely 2x plus 6 minus 3xy minus 9y. So I might have to regroup, since I can see that for the first part, when I factorize, I'm just going to factor out a 2. So I'm going to get something with x and maybe 3 inside. But when I factorize this one, I can see that I'll end up with something with x and a constant as well. So there's no need for regrouping this one. So for the first one, I can factor out 2 to get x plus 3. So the idea is I should have the common bracket. Then if I factor out minus 3y, I also get x plus 3. Then I now have a common bracket. So the common bracket is x plus 3. And the factors I used was 2 minus 3y. So the answer is x plus 3 of 2 minus 3y. Question number 11. I'm told that the universal set is 20, or it's got 20 elements. Number of the universal sets, number of elements in the universal set is 20, and number of elements in the set A union B complement is 3. Number of A is 10 elements and number of B is 13 elements. So we want to first of all fill in the Venn diagram to fill in the required information so that we can answer the questions that follows. So it is advisable that for questions like this, you always start by using a pencil to fill in whatever information you have, work out some equations that follows, then finally you may now put the actual values in pen. So we are told that the number of A union B complements. So what it means is when we combine A and B and say what is not in these two sets is actually found outside, and those are the three elements that we have. Now we are also told that number of elements in set A is 10. So set A is actually represented by the whole circle A. And they are saying in that circle we have 10 elements, but those 10 elements but also includes X elements which are found in both set A and set B. So to get elements in this part here, I'm going to say the 10 total elements that are in set A, remove X elements which are on the intersection to avoid double counting. Now, set B has got 13 elements. So set B is the whole of circle B here. Is 13 elements there altogether. So of the 13 elements, the total elements in set B, we remove X elements that are found on the intersection, because at the end of the day, this region we should have elements that are found in B only and not on the intersection. So if we say 3 elements which are found outside of those two sets plus 10 minus X elements which are found in A only plus X elements which are found on in both set A and set B, and 13 minus X elements which are found in set B only, should give us the total number of elements in the inverse set, which is 20. So if we say 3 plus 10 gives us 13, plus 13 gives us 26 minus X, plus X seems to cancel out, but I have this minus X which survive, so that's equal to 20. So grouping like terms and doing the change sign, seeing that minus X goes to the other side, it becomes X. 26 minus 20, that's 6 being equal to X. So now that I found the value of X, I can now then substitute the required values. So for me to get what's in this set, I'm going to say 10 minus X, which is 10 minus 6, which gives me 4. Here, that's X, so I'm just going to put 6. And 13 minus 6, that's 7. So these are the actual elements that we find in these regions of the sets that we have. So now I can answer questions that follows. So I'm told to find number of A intersect B. So A intersect B, I'm looking at elements which are found in both A and B, and that's just 6 elements. Number of A complement intersect B, so I'll use the set shading technique to identify which region is being talked about here. So I'll shade set A complement and also shade set B separately. So A complement, I will shade it horizontally. So I'm just trying to avoid the circle A itself. So A complement is anything that is found outside the circle A. So I have avoided circle A altogether. And with vertical black lines or vertical black lines there, I'm going to shade set B because I have A complement intersect B. So set B is the sec of B itself. That's set B. So the correct answer here would be, if they say A complement intersect B, I'm looking at where the horizontal lines intersect with the vertical lines. But when they say union, I'm looking at wherever I would have shaded. So if it's union, I shaded this region, shaded this region, shaded this region. I would collect all the elements within those regions. But now that they want the intersection, I can see that this is the region where the horizontal and the vertical lines are intersecting. So how many elements are there? We only have 7 elements. So the answer is 7. Question number 12 actually requires me to find the mean. So we are told that altogether we have 100 students. So mean is equal to summation of x multiplied by the frequency over summation of the frequency, where x is the midpoint and the frequency is the total frequency when we add all the frequencies that we have. So I'm going to try to find the midpoint first. So the first midpoint would be 100 plus 150, which is equal to 250 divided by 2, gives me 125. The next one would be from 150 to 160. I add the 2, then divide by 2. The answer is the midpoint is 155. The next class is running from 160 to 165. Then I divide that by 2. It gives me 162.5. So that's the mid interval, 162.5. The next one is 165 plus 185. Divide that by 2 simply means that I have 175. So now that I found the mid intervals, I'm going to say the mean is equal to 125 times 7 for the first one, 125 times 7, plus for the second class is 155 times 30, plus the next class is 162.5 times 41, plus the next class is 175 times 22. All over, when I sum these frequencies, I'm not going to do that manually because I'm told that altogether we have 100 students. So that sum there is already been given for us. It's just 100. Then I will try not to punch the calculator at once, but rather I will do this problem in stages to avoid some errors. So the first one is 125 times 7, which gives me 875, plus the next class is 155 times 30, which gives me 4,650, plus the next class is 162.5 times 41, which gives me 6,662.5, then plus the last class is 175 times 22, which gives me 3,850. All these are all over 100. So now let's add the numerator and see what we have. So on the numerator, we're going to have 875 plus 4,650 plus 6,662.5 plus 3,850. That of course gives me 16,037.5 over 100. So we just need to divide the answer by 100, and we are not going to round this one off because it's an exact answer. We only round off non-exact answers. So this is the mean. Question number 13. The diagram shows a quadrilateral ABCD formed when two triangles ABC and ACD. ABC is a right angle triangle. Calculate angle BAC. So we want to calculate angle BAC. So this is angle A in that direction. So we can see that triangle ABC is a right angled triangle. So when I want to find an angle in a right angled triangle, I always try to make use of trigonometric ratios. So our theta is currently unknown. I need to identify what I have so that I know which trig ratio to use. So the side marked at 12 becomes the adjacent. The side AC is the hypotenuse. It's nothing. It has got nothing to do with this question because it's not given. So the side marked at 12 becomes the adjacent because it's closer to the given angle. The side opposite to the given angle is the opposite. So the opposite is equal to 14. So when I try to use Toa, I can see that side is opposite over hypotenuse, cos is adjacent of hypotenuse, and since the hypotenuse is not included, both sine and cos are not applicable. So which means I end up opting for tan of an angle or tangent of an angle. So tan theta is equal to opposite over adjacent. So tan theta is equal to the opposite there. We said it's 14 over the adjacent, which is 12. So tan theta is equal to, when I make use of my calculator, 14 divided by 12 just give me 7 over 6 or 1.166 dot 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 dot. So for me to get theta, this is equal to arctan of 1.166 dot 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 dot. So I'm just going to say arctan of my answer is 49.39 something degrees. So make sure you're using radians. So this is 49.3987. So for non-exact angles, we give the answers correct to one decimal place. So to one decimal place, we check the next digit. Of course, it does have an effect over 3. So the answer is 49.4 degrees. Part B requires B to calculate BD. So we want to find the length BD. We want to find the length BD there. So the good thing is we have theta being 49.4, 49.4. So I'm figuring out that we need to use cosine rule since I only have one angle and two adjacent sides to that given angle in triangle ABD. So I'm looking for the angle, for the side opposite to the given angle. So we can identify theta as 62 plus 49.4 62 plus 49.4. So we have 62 plus 49.4 giving me 111.4. So that's 111.4 degrees. So, or should I call this angle A? Then the side opposite to B is known as a small b there, which is 15, and the side opposite to D, angle D, is 12. So what I need to find is the small a there, which is opposite to the angle A. So using the space provided, my BD is A. So this is A squared is equal to B squared plus, it's just technically the other side. So B squared plus D squared minus 2BD cosine of angle A. So this formula is also provided on your formula sheet in case you forget it. So we said side B is 15, so that's 15 squared plus 12 squared minus 2 times 15 times 12 times cosine of angle 111.4 degrees. So for this part, we can actually punch this value at once in our calculator. So 15 squared plus 12 squared minus 2 times 15 times 12 times cosine of an angle 111.4 degrees. So the answer, A squared is equal to 500.3556 dot dot dot. Question is progressing. So A becomes the square root of 500.3556 dot dot. So we can actually find the square root of the answer that's showing on our calculator, which is just 22.3686 dot dot dot. So this is a non-exact answer. So when we round it off to 3 SF, this is going to be 22.4. Then the next question is saying, calculate the shortest distance from D to AC. We want the shortest distance from D to AC. All right. So the shortest distance from D to AC is such that it makes a right angle with the line AC there. So the line itself actually divides triangle ADC into two equal, or not equal, but two triangles, two right angle triangles. So I'm going to see which right angle triangle has got sufficient information. So I know that in this right angle triangle here, I have an angle 62. I also have a given side. So identifying what I have, I can see that theta is 62 degrees. The longest side AD there is the hypotenuse, which is 15. And the shortest distance that we are looking for is opposite to the given angle. That's what I'm looking at. So I'll say theta is 62 degrees. The hypotenuse we found out to be 15. Looking for the opposite. So using our saw, Katoa, we want the trig ratio which link the opposite and the hypotenuse. So sine can do that. Sine theta is equal to opposite of hypotenuse. So sine theta is equal to opposite over hypotenuse. So sine 62 degrees is equal to the opposite over the hypotenuse of 15. So to find the opposite, I can cross multiply by 15. So that's 15 sine 62 degrees. That's when I have multiplied by 15 both sides. So I might need the help of a calculator here. So 15 sine 62 degrees gives me 13.24421 dot dot. This is also a non-exact value which I need to round off to 3 significant figures, and the answer would be 13.2 centimeters. That's the shortest distance from D to AC. In question number 14, Wong is 400 to invest, 4,000 to invest. She invests 2,000 at a rate of 2.5% per year, simple interest. She also invests 2,000 at a rate of 2% per year, compound interest. Find the value of each investment at the end of 8 years. So here you are going to have simple interest investment, and here we are going to have compound interest investment. So for the simple interest investment, the principal or the amount invested is 2,000. The rate is 2.5, whereas the time is 8 years. So interest earned is equal to PRT over 100. The principal is 2,000 times a rate of 2.5 times the time of 8 years, or over 100. So if we say 2,000 times 2.5 times 8 over 100, we get 400. But this 400 is just the interest or the total interest earned in those 8 years. But we want to find the value of the investment. So value of investment is equal to principal plus interest. That is if you are using the simple interest, because the simple interest formula just gives you the interest and not the value of the investment. So if you had 2,000 which you invested and you gained an interest of 400, simply means that you now have the total or the value of investment of 2,400. For the compound interest formula, the principal is equal to 2,000. The rate is equal to 2% compound interest. And the time is still 8 years. So the value of the investment, which I'm going to call CI, is P of 1 plus R over 100 to the power time. So our principal is 2,000 of 1 plus 2 over 100 to the power 8. So this is 2,000. 2 over 100, that's 0.02 plus 1 gives us 1.02 to the power 8. So with the help of the calculator, we're going to have 2,000 open bracket 1.02 to the power 8, which gives me 2,343.32 corrected to dp. So for the compound interest formula, what we get is the value of the investment. So that's where it differs from the simple interest formula. So the compound, the simple interest value of investment is 2,400. The compound interest value of investment is 2,343.32. Find the overall percentage increase in the investment of 4,000, if the investment of 4,000 at the end of the 8 years. So the total value of investment for both investments is equal to 2,400 plus 2,343.32, 2,400 plus 2,343.32 gives us 4,743.32. So overall percentage increase is equal to, I always say, percentage increase is equal to new minus old over old times 100. So the new amount that is in the account is 4,743.32. What was initially there is what I'm referring to as old, which is 4,000 all over the old, which is 4,000 times 100. So this answer, I need to just less 4,000 to get 743.32, divide that by 4,000. I get 0.18 something, then I multiply that by 100. I get 18.583, which is 18.6%. Find the number of complete years it takes for the compound interest investment of 2,000 to become greater than 2,500. So the formula is CI is equal to P of 1 plus R over 100 to the power T, where the principal, which is what we are investing, is 2,000. Where we need to see is the value of the investment, which is CI, to be greater than 2,500. The rate, in this case, we just assume that is still 2.2% because we are still assuming that is the same since we haven't been updated with the new rate. So we're just assuming that R is still 2%. So CI is equal to P, which is 2,000 of 1 plus 2 over 100 to the power T because we don't have the time. So this is 2,000 of 1.02 to the power T. And what we're going to do here is we're going to make a trial and error for the time to see what happens. So let's assume, let's see what happens at T equal to 5 years. So at T equal to 5 years, we have 2,000, open bracket, 1.02 to the power 5. We can see that this is 2,208.16 something, which is less than 2,500. So 5 years is still less. So we try maybe at T equal to 10 years to see what we get. So at T equal to 10 years, what I'm just going to do here, I'm going to change 5 to 10. So that's 2,000 437.98 something, which is less than 2,500. But we can really see that we are close. So we try maybe at t equal to 11. Yes, we need to be careful now because we are really close. That's what we can see. So we see what will happen when we change, when we make our time to be 11. Yes, still less than. So at this stage, we then try again on our calculator. We add another year, which is 12. So at t equal to 12, we have surpassed, t equal to 12 years, we have surpassed 2,500, which is greater than 2,500. At t equal to 11, it wasn't the case. So what it means is the number of complete years it takes for the investment to surpass 2,500 is 12 years. So that's the number of years there, 12 years. Elaine invests 5,000 at a rate of % per year compound interest. At the end of the year, 15 years, the value of the investment is 7,566. Find the value of R. So this case, the percentage has changed. So we are investing 5,000 and our value of investment in the compound interest from setup, we have 7,566. Time is equal to 15 years. So compound interest formula is given by P of 1 plus R over 100 to the power T. So our compound interest is now 7,566, or that's the value of the investment, is equal to the principal 5,000 of 1 plus R over 100 to the power 15. So the first thing that we need to do there is to divide both sides by 5,000 because we need to make R the subject of the formula. So now we will have 7,566. Divide that by 5,000. We get a 1.5132 being equal to 1 plus R over 100 to the power 15. The power 15 there. So we need to make sure that we have R only. So in order to do that, we need to get rid of this power 15. So if we have squared, we get rid of that by introducing a square root that will effectively cancel out the power. If we have a cubed, we cancel that with the cube root. So likewise, we are going to cancel out with the 15th root. But when we introduce the 15th root, we do it to both sides. So now we're going to try to find the 15th root of our answer. So we're going to try the 15th root of our answer, which we believe is still there. Then that's 1.02799 dot 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 dot. We're not going to remove the answer on our calculator. But then on the right hand side, the 15th root and the power 15 knocked out each other. So we're left with 1 plus R over 10. So 1.02799 minus 1 is equal to R over, so this is R over 100. So we're going to subtract 1 from our answer. which you are going to get 0.02799 dot, 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 being equal to R over 100. So to get R, we're going to multiply both sides by 100. So R in this case is going to be times 100. We get 2.799 dot, dot, dot. So to 3SF, that's 1, 2, 3, but the 9 changes to 10 and affects 7. So we only have 2.8. In question number 15, we are told that y is equal to the square root of u squared minus x. Find the value of y when u equal to 7 and x is equal to 25. So here we're just going to substitute. So y equal to the square root of u, that's 7 squared, multiplied by 25. So, basing on the number of marks, we might go ahead and substitute it into the formula, into the calculator rather. So 7 squared times a 25 under a square root, we get a 35. So the answer is 35. The second part of the question is asking us to rearrange the formula so that we write x in terms of u and y. So they're just like saying, make x the subject of the formula. So you have y equal to the square root of u squared x. So first of all, we need to unlock the square root so that we get x. At the same time, x should be outside of the square root. So to unlock a square root, you do the opposite, you square. But when you square the right-hand side, you square the left-hand side. So y squared is equal to, with the square root and the square, we have to cancel out here. So to get u squared x, then finally to be left out with x, the relationship between u squared and x is that of multiplication, because u squared is multiplying x. So we need to cancel that with division by dividing both sides by u squared. So x is y squared over u squared. And in some cases, you might see this answer as y over u being squared. So A is the point with coordinates 7, 2, and B is the point with coordinates -5, 8. Calculate the length AB. So the length of the line AB becomes the square root of x1 minus x2 squared plus y1 minus y2 squared. So this formula is not provided, it simply means you need to memorize it. So the first coordinate, I'm going to name it x1, y1. Second one is x2, y2. So we are going to have x1 being 7 minus, because the minus is there, but x2 is -5. Then we square that, then plus y1 is 2 minus y2, which is 8, then we square that. So what we get is 7 minus 5, that's 7 plus 5, which is 12 squared, plus a -6 squared, which is the square root of 12 squared, that's 144, plus a 36, the square root of the square of a negative number. So this is the square root of, so when we say 144 plus 36, we get 180, which is equal to, we need the square root of that. So that's 6 root 5, but here we can leave it to 3 significant figures. So the answer is 13.4. Find the equation of the line that is perpendicular to AB, and that passes through the point minus 1, 3, giving your answer in the form y equal to mx plus c. So this is point A, and this is point B. Point A has coordinates 7, 2, and point B has coordinates minus 5, 8, right? So at some point, we don't know at what point is the line that is perpendicular to our line, our given line AB is intersecting with it. So it might be at this point was it's not being given. So what we know is it's perpendicular, and the point of intersection, we don't know it. However, we have another coordinate which has been given, which lies on the line which is perpendicular to AB, and that point is minus 1, 3. Now, this is the line that we need to look for its equation. Then we need to remember that for you to find the equation of a line, you just need the gradient, and you also need a point that this line passes through. So the line that we are looking for, which is perpendicular to AB, has got a point that it passed through at, which is minus 1, 3. However, we don't have its gradient. But we know that if I have the gradient of AB, it's such that the product of the product of two perpendicular lines is negative 1. So if I find the gradient of AB, I may as well find the gradient of the other line. So M1, which is the gradient of AB, becomes change in y, which is y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. So this is x1, y1, and this is x2, y2. So y1 is 2 minus y2, which is 8, over x1, which is 7, minus x2, which is a negative 5. So the gradient there becomes minus 6 over a 12, which is minus half. So M2, the gradient of the perpendicular line, if I make M2 the subject of the formula from this function there, I get M2 being equal to minus 1 over M1. So this is minus 1 over a negative half, so which turns out to be 2. So at this point now, I am trying now to find the equation of the line with the gradient of 2, and which passes at a point where x is minus 1 and y is 3, as we are told here. So using y is equal to mx plus c, we need to find m, which you already have. Also, we need to find c. So to find c, y is 3, m is 2 when x is negative 1, then plus c. So 3 is equal to minus 2 plus c. So 3 plus 2 is equal to c. So 5 is equal to c. Therefore, y is equal to mx plus c. M is 2, x plus c, which is plus 5. So y is equal to 2x plus 5 is the equation of the line which is perpendicular to the line AB. Question number 7. The area of the triangle is 50 square centimeters. Calculate the value of sine x. So area of every triangle is half base times height. That is when you are given the perpendicular height. Otherwise, if you are not given the perpendicular height, area is equal to half AB sine theta, where A and B are the sides which are adjacent to our given angle. So the area is 50 being equal to half times A, which is 18 times 13 times sine x, because theta is x. Then If we are to use the help of our calculator, we're going to have half times 18. So that's half times 18 times 13, which gives me 117. So 50 is equal to 117 sine x. So we divide both sides by 117. So sine x is equal to 50 over 117, which is 0.42735 dot dot dot, or you can just leave sine x as 50 over 117. The choice is yours. So now there is a tendency of doing something that you are used to, of trying to find the value of x by just saying x is equal to arc sine of 50 over 117, but they are not requiring the angle x. They want you to find the value of sine x. Sine x is equal to 50 over 117. No need to simplify further. So your answer would be 50 over 117. They're even giving you a hint that we don't want the value of x, we want the value of sine x. So that's where you end. In question number 18, we're going to solve 3y over 2y minus 1 is equal to 3 quarters. So on the left-hand side, we have a single fraction because everything is expressed under the same denominator. On the right-hand side, we also have a single fraction because everything is expressed under the same denominator. So if you have this situation, you are just going to cross multiply. So we cross multiply 4 multiplied by 3y equal to 3 multiplied by 2y minus 1. So on the left hand side, we're going to have cos y is equal to 6y minus 3. So that's cos y minus 6y when we group like terms and using the change sign. So 6y is equal to minus 3. Then we finally divide both sides by 6. Turns out that y is equal to minus 3 over 6, which is minus half. So you can either write minus half or minus 0.5. Question number 19. The cross-section of a prism is an equilateral triangle of side 6 centimeters. The length of the prism is 20 centimeters. Calculate the total surface area of the prism. So I always favor drawing diagrams first. So the prism is not standing vertically upwards, but is actually horizontal because we are given the length of the prism rather than the height. So the cross section is an equilateral triangle, which means that's how this shape is formed uniformly. It's an equilateral triangle. So the equilateral triangle is sides 6, 6, 6, and the length of 20 centimeters. So we are required to find the cross section. So we are required to find the total surface area rather. So this prism, we're going to assume that it's going to be constituted of this face, which is also the same as the face which is on the other side. So we are going to say, since it's an equilateral triangle, it means for an equilateral triangle, all the sides all the angles are 60 degrees. So I'm going to say area of the two equilateral triangles is equal to half AB sine theta, then we multiply that by 2, which is half times A, which is 6, times B, which is 6, times sine of a 60 degrees. Then we multiply that by 2. So we're going to have half times 6 times 6 times sine 60 degrees, then multiply that by 2. So we are given this answer as exact, so we can actually maintain the exact form of it. So that's 18 root 3. Then we need to find area of this face here and the one which is on the exact opposite. But actually, all the faces that we are left out with is 6 by 20, 6 by 20 on the bottom, and 6 by 20 the other face there. They are all rectangles. So I'm going to say area of the 3 rectangles. They are all rectangles with the same dimensions. So this is equal to length as width, which is 20 by 6, but we multiply that by 3. So if we say 20 by 6, 20 by 6, then multiply that by 3, we get 360. So the answer is 360. Therefore, total surface area would be 18 root 3 plus 360, but they are not requiring this answer as an exact form. So we're going to have 18 root 3 plus 360, which gives me 391.1769,145 dot dot dot. So the 3 significant figures, that's 1, 2, 3. This is 391, since this one doesn't affect. On number 20, we are told that y is equal to 2x to the k plus ux to the power 7, and dy dx is 18x of k to the power k minus 1 plus 21x to the power 6. Find the value of k and the value of u. So the first thing we need to do, we also need to differentiate this one so that we have the two functions in terms of dy dx, keeping it in mind that k and u are constants, just like 2 or just like 3. So for this function, dy dx is equal to the 2 and the k multiply, then we say k to the power minus 1, then plus the u multiplies with the 7, then you're going to have x to the power 7 minus 1, which is the power 6. So dy dx is equal to 2k x to the power k minus 1 plus 7u x to the power 6. So we have two functions which are all in forms of dy dx. So what we need to do is we need to just equate them. You can see that the 2k x to the power k minus 1 can be equated to 18x to the power k minus 1, because for these two functions we have x to the power k minus 1. So it means that 2k would be equal to 18, since the x to the power k minus 1 is the same in both aspects. So k is 18 over 2. Turns out that k is 9. So the 7u of x to the power 6 can be equated to 21x to the power 6, because they all have x to the power 6. So the coefficient of x to the power 6 there is 7u in the function that I have differentiated, but to the dy dx function that I already had. Coefficient of x to the power 6 is 21. So to get u, we divide both sides by 7. So u is equal to 3. So u there is equal to 3. The number 21 is saying simplify 5p squared minus 20p over 2p squared minus 32. So one thing that you wouldn't do there is to just cancel out the p squared, which is the most the most common mistake that most students make. So instead, we're going to factorize. So for the numerator, we can see that 5 is the factor for the numbers and p is the factor for p squared and p. So 5 into 5, that's 5. P into p squared, we get p. Minus 5 into 20, we get 4. P into p, we get nothing. Or we get 1 rather. Then for the denominator, only 2 is a common factor, giving us p squared minus 16. But for the denominator, we are not yet done. For the numerator, we have 5p of p minus 4 all over 2. For the denominator, this is actually difference of two squares. We have p squared and 16, but they are subtracting. So difference of two squares, we have p, the square root of p squared, and 4, the square root of 16. And in the other one, you have p plus 4. So at this stage, you're now free to just cancel out these two. So the answer would be 5p all over 2 of p plus a 4. Question number 22. The diagram shows the triangle OPT, in which, so in the diagram OT is equal to T, so from O to T, that's vector T, and vector OP is equal to P. OK S to KT is of the ratio 2:1, and TL S to LP, TL S to LP is 2:1. Find in terms of T and P in its simplest form. So we need to find vector PL, vector PL. So we need to be using an alternative route, which gives us what we need. So from the look of things, PL will have to be 2/3, or rather 1/3 of the whole line PT. So what I first of all need to find is vector PT. So vector PT is vector PO. I move from P to O, then from O to T. So that's plus OT. So PO, I'm opposing OP, I'll be opposing OP. So PO is minus vector P plus OT, which is vector T. So now that I have vector PT, then PL would have to be a third of vector T minus P, which is equal to a third vector T minus a third vector P when I remove the brackets. Now I need to find vector KL. Vector KL. So using what I have so far, vector KL can be vector KO plus, I move from K to O, then I move from O to P, so that's plus vector OP, then I move from P to L, which is plus vector PL. So from the look of things, I have vector PL, I have vector OP, but I don't have vector KO. So that's what I need to first of all find. So vector KO I'm going to take this property that from O to K, S to KT is 2S to 1. So KO S to be 2 over 3 because the part from K to O is bigger than the part from T to K. So that's 2/3 of vector TO. So vector TO is opposing vector OT because I have vector OT as T. So vector TO would have to be minus T, which is equal to minus 2/3 vector T. So that's vector KO. So that's what I'm going to put here. Minus 2/3 vector T plus vector OP is P. So vector OP is P. Then plus vector PL. So vector PL is a third T minus a third P. So now I will group like terms. So if I say minus 2 over 3 for T minus 2 over 3T plus 1/3 T, the answer is equal to minus a third T. So that's minus a third T. Then P minus a third P, that's 2/3 P. So on my answer, I might say that vector KL is equal to, I would have to start with the positive first, which is 2/3 P minus a third T. So KL is extended to meet the point M to the point M. So we are going to extend KL to point M. And we're also told that from K to M, that's negative 2/3 T plus 4/3 P. So that M lies on OP extended. So we are more like going to extend. We're going to extend KL. So if we extend KL, we extend it. That's continue with the line KL, and we also continue with the line OP. The idea is to show that M is also on KL. It's also on OP as it is also on KL. So if M is on point is a point such that it also lies on OP extended, we are saying that makes OP and M collinear points. So OP and M will be collinear points. So we are told that Km is negative 2/3 T plus 4 over 3P. That's what we know so far. So one thing that we'll do there is to then try to find OP, OM rather, is to then try to find OM to see what situation we are dealing with. So we can say that OM on the other note, OM is equal to OK plus Km. OM is equal to OK plus Km. So OK is opposing KO. So if KO is minus 2/3 T, it means that OK is 2/3 T. So plus Km. Km we are given that is, this is equal to minus 2/3 t plus 4 over 3p. That's km. So what we're going to do here is we are going to group like terms. So it's just 2/3 t minus 2/3 t, which is 4/3 p. Right? So we have just found OM, right? So if points O, P, and M are collinear, that is, we have point O, we have point P, and we have point M. If they are collinear, then vector OP should be equal to some constant of vector OM, because it's just a fraction of the whole line OM there. So vector OP, if you look vector at vector OP, is just vector P, and vector OM is equal to 4/3 of vector P. In other ways, we can then say that vector OM is equal to 4 over 3 of vector OP, because vector OP is P and vector OM is 4/3 P. That's one way of saying it. Or we might say that vector OP, if you want to start with this, we can say vector OP is equal to 3/4 of vector OM. That's the other way we can use to show that these are the lines on the same line. We are dealing with co-linear points here. In question 23, Sage walks 7.9 kilometers correct to the nearest 100 meters. The walk takes 133 minutes correct to the nearest minute. Calculate the maximum possible average speed of Sage's walk. Give your answer in kilometers per hour. So what we can do here is this is a this is a lower bound and upper bound problem. So we are given that 7.9 kilometers is the distance that Sage walks, but it's approximated to 100 meters, right? So we'd want to change then 100 meters to kilometers. So we know that 1 kilometer is equal to 100 meters. So x is equal to, we know that one kilometer is equal to 1,000 meters. So we need to find the equivalence of 100 meters. So I can cross multiply, then get 100 equal to, then I cross multiply to get 1,000 x. Then I divide by 1,000. I also divide by 1,000. So x is equal to 0.1 kilometers. So 100 meters is 0.1 kilometers. So they seem to have rounded off to the nearest one decimal place. So I take the 0.1 kilometer, then divide that by 2, which is equal to 0.05 kilometers. So it's either I'm going to add 0.05 kilometers to 7.9 kilometers, or I subtract. But I need to understand this situation. I want to find the maximum possible average speed of Sage's walk. So how do I get average speed? So average speed is equal to total distance over total time taken. So if I want to get a maximum possible speed, it means I want the upper bound speed. So if I want the upper bound speed, I need to maximize an answer after I've divided. So it means that I would have found upper bound distance to maximize the numerator, then minimize the time or the divisor, which is lower bound time. That's how I maximize under division. So I would then say upper bound distance, the upper bound distance is equal to 7.9 plus 0.05, which is equal to 7.95 kilometers. Then as for the time, I'm told that the walk takes 133 minutes to the nearest minute. So I would eventually want to change everything to a time in hours. So I would say 133 minutes means 133 divided by 60 hours. So 133 divided by 60, it gives me just, sorry, 133 divided by 60. I would need to keep it as a fraction on this one because that's 2.216 recurring. So that's our time in hours. Then, but this one has been rounded off to the nearest minute. So a minute is equivalent to 1 over 60 hours. So that's to the nearest 1 over 60 hours. That's where they rounded off. So what I just do is I divide the 1 over 60 hours by 2. So if I say 1 over 60 hours divided by 2, that gives me 1 over 120, which is 0.83 recurring. So, this is just 1 over 120. So what I'm going to do with this is, since I want the lower bound time, I'm going to say whatever I have, which is 133 over 60 hours, I'm going to subtract 1 over 120 to get the lower bound time. So this is the lower bound time. So that's 133 over 60, subtract 1 over 120, I get 53 over 24. So that's 53 over 24 hours. Or when I change that, it's 2.208 something. Now, for me to get the upper bound average speed, I'm going to say total distance, which is 7.95 kilometers. Then I divide that by the total time, which is 53 over 24. So 7.95 divided by 53 over 24 gives me 3.6. So the answer is 3.6 kilometers per hour. In question number 24, the straight line y is equal to 2x plus 1 intersects the curve y is equal to x squared plus 2x minus 4 at points A and B. Find the coordinates of A and B, giving your answer to 2 decimal places. So diagrammatically, I would have to understand that this is the curve y is equal to 3x squared, x squared plus 3x minus 4, and a line y is equal to 2x plus 1. So they intersect at point A and point B. So at the point of intersection, the y coordinate of the curve is equal to the y coordinate of the line. So the y coordinate of the curve is given by x squared plus 3x minus 4. So I'm going to say x squared plus 3x minus 4 is equal to the y coordinate of the line is given by 2x plus 1. So automatically I would have formed a situation which requires me to use a equation a quadratic equation rather. So I will leave the right hand side with 0. So I have x squared plus 3x minus 2x minus 4 minus 1 is equal to 0. So x squared plus x minus 5 is equal to 0. So here they want me to give the answer in two decimal places. So usually this question is not solved by factorization. So we have to apply the quadratic formula. So if you can't memorize the quadratic formula, you have to rely on the formula sheet where it is given. So x is equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4a all over 2a, where a is the coefficient of x squared, which is 1, b is the coefficient of x, which is also 1, and c is the constant, which is negative 5. So x is equal to minus b, which is minus 1, plus or minus the square root of 1 squared minus 4 times 1 times c, which is minus 5, all over 2 times 1. So x is equal to minus 1 plus or minus the square root of 1 squared, that's 1, minus 4 times minus 5, that's plus a 20, all over 2. So x is equal to minus 1 plus or minus the square root of 21 over 2. So the first coordinate would be x is equal to minus 1 plus the square root of 21 over 2, or the second one would be x is equal to minus 1 minus the square root of 21 over 2. So I might need the help of a calculator. So I will have minus 1 plus the square root of 21 over 2, giving me x is equal to 1.79128, being the first coordinate. Second one, I have to put a minus. So a minus gives me x is equal to minus 2.79129 rather. So I'm not going to rush you into rounding off because that's not my final answer. So when x is equal to 1.7912 something, so basically when I substitute x into either of my two equations, either the equation of the curve or the equation of the line, I'm going to find the y coordinate. But to make life easier for me, I'm going to use the equation of the line, which is similar. So y would be 2x, which is 2 of 1.7912 dot dot dot, then plus a 1. So 2 times 1.791288, then plus a 1. The answer I get there is y is equal to 4.582576. And when x is equal to minus 2.79129, y is also equal to 2 of minus 2.79129, then plus a 1. So y is equal to 2 of negative 2.7 9129 plus a 1. The answer for y there is minus 4.58258. So at the end, I'm now going to give my answers as answers to two decimal places as per the requirement of the question. But make sure that when I put x is equal to 1.79, I should then put the corresponding value of y. I don't need um, to put these values randomly. I just need to pair according to how I found them. So I also found that when x is minus 2.79, y is minus 4.58. And these are the two answers. So this was how this question paper was supposed to be solved. If you like what I'm doing and you really appreciate the work that I'm doing, please don't forget to like this video and also um, share this channel with others, and also subscribe to my channel for more work so that I also keep on producing amazing projects such as this one. Goodbye.